The escalation of barbaric violence in the Middle East must stop. The vicious Israeli occupation and the ugly Palestinian retaliation results in the killing of precious innocent people on both sides. We must have a lasting peace based on justice. Hashtag truth, justice, love. Hashtag Israel. Hashtag Palestine. Why? Why would you post this? This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. Me when I tell the Nazis to get along with the people that they're trying to murder. Guys, we just need to all get together. Okay? Just need to be friends. Okay? That's the problem. The problem is that we're just not being enough friends here. Not a good look for him. The second reply. I don't even care about it anymore. Honestly, sick of hearing about their stupid conflict. They all choose to live under those conditions. It's been going on since I was born, and I hope to see the end of it, but I don't have much faith in it either. What do you mean by choose? What do you mean by choose there? Okay. Sure. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Sure, sure. Cool. Cool. So we'll do one quick article covering the gist of what has happened so we can all be on the same page. And then after that, I'm thinking that we can watch some videos and stuff. And then we can go from there. Yeah, my grandparents chose to have their house stolen and their friends killed. Yeah, and to be forcibly relocated. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, AP article says Israeli military says fighting continues in 22 areas of southern Israel 12 hours after incursion. The Israeli military says that the fighting is continuing in 22 locations in southern Israel 12 hours after Hamas militants carried out a surprise infiltration into the area. In a statement, the army's chief spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said that there is no community in the southern Israeli where we do not have forces. He said that Israel has regained control in some communities, but the army... Oh, Rear Admiral. Thank you. I was like, what am I looking at? I'm so confused. Yeah, thank you. I was like, maybe that's like a name and I don't know. Obviously. Fucking Jesus. He said Israel has regained control in some communities, but the army is still conducting scans to make sure that they are safe. Hagari also confirmed ongoing hostage situations in two towns, Ofakim and Biri. There are special forces there with senior commanders and live firefights are going on there, he said. Hagari said that Israel was striking targets in Gaza in the air and that ground operations were imminent. He did not elaborate, but said an additional 4 division of troops as well as tanks were being deployed to the already heavily fortified area. And this is the update to the original story, which says Hamas militants fired thousands of rockets and sent dozens of fighters into Israeli towns near the Gaza Strip in an unprecedented surprise early morning attack during a major Jewish holiday on Saturday, killing dozens and stunning the country. Israel said that it is now at war with Hamas, and it launched airstrikes in Gaza, vowing to inflict an unprecedented price. Hamas militants were still fighting gun battles inside several Israeli communities hours after the incursion began. Israel's National Rescue Service said at least 70 people were killed and hundreds wounded, making it the deadliest attack in Israel in years. An unknown number of Israeli soldiers and civilians were also seized and taken into Gaza, an enormously sensitive issue for Israel. At least 198 people in the Gaza Strip have been killed in Israel's retaliation, and at least 1,600 wounded. The Palestinian Health Ministry in Gaza said the strength, sophistication, and timing of the attack shocked Israelis. Hamas fighters used explosives to break through the border fence, enclosing the long blockaded Mediterranean territory, and then crossed with motorcycles, pickup trucks, paragliders, and speedboats on the coast. Bodies of dead Israeli civilians and Hamas militants were seen on the streets of Israeli towns. Associated Press photos showed an abducted elderly Israeli woman surrounded by gunmen being brought back into Gaza on a golf cart, and another woman squeezed between two fighters on a motorcycle. Images on social media appear to show fighters parading what seemed to be captured Israeli military vehicles through Gaza streets, and a dead Israeli soldier being dragged and trampled by a crowd of Palestinians. The assault threatened to spiral into greater conflict, mirroring previous conflicts between Israel and the Hamas militants ruling Gaza that brought widespread death and destruction in Gaza and days of rocket fire in Israeli towns. And then I did see this. God, I hate this guy.
Citizens of Israel, we are at war, not in an operation or in rounds, but at war. This morning, Hamas launched a murderous surprise attack against the state of Israel and its citizens. We have been in this since the early morning hours. I convened the heads of security establishment and ordered, first of all, to clear out the communities that have been infiltrated by terrorists. This currently is being carried out.
Haven't been able to catch a Denims stream for a month. Feels good to see you again.
Wait, is something wrong with the audio? Oh, because I only wear one earbud at a time. One sec.
Of a magnitude that the enemy has not known. The enemy will pay an unprecedented price. In the meantime, I call on the citizens of Israel to strictly adhere to the...
Oh, he is really only talking in the right ear. That's weird. That's so weird. Okay, I think it's just this video. It's just 5 more seconds.
Directives of the IDF and Home Front Command. We are at war, and we will win it.
Dude, this is so fucking... The presentation of so many of these things is so disingenuous. It's like, it's pathetic. It's... DeSantis responds, oh my God.
Israel is now under attack. I stand with Israel. America stands with Israel. Not only do they have a right to...
Yeah, no shit, America stands with Israel. We give them fucking billions of dollars every single year. How much money do we give Israel every single fucking year? Let me find it.
Defend themselves. They have a duty to defend themselves against these Iranian-backed Hamas terrorists. Iran has helped fund this war against Israel, and Joe Biden's policies that have gone easy on Iran has helped to fill their coffers. Israel is now paying the price for those policies. We're going to stand with the state of Israel. They need to root out Hamas, and we need to stand up to Iran.
Bro, you're like 4'10". What do you mean stand up for fucking Israel? They won't even be able to see you, man. Come on. Let's be realistic for just 2 seconds. Yeah, Israel is the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. foreign aid. Until February 2022, the U.S. has provided Israel $150 billion in bilateral assistance. And we give them $3 billion a year. Oh, now we give them $3.8 billion a year. Of course the U.S. stands with fucking Israel. We've given them so much fucking money. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And they have nukes? Yeah, I mean, they have like, what is it called? The Iron Dome? And the saddest thing too, chat, is that I want to do some more research into this, and I want to do some more digging into everything that's happening right now, because there have been multiple different instances where Hamas has been blamed for being the instigators of one particular conflict. And then as more and more information comes out, it turns out that actually a week prior, they were tear gassing mosques in Gaza or in Palestine. And that story didn't get covered at all, but the story where they retaliated got covered. I think the last time that Israel and Palestine were like in the news heavily, there was the instance where, if anyone has the link, please post it. Remember the Al Jazeera reporter? We'll get there. There was the instance where they had, I believe they had tear gassed it or some other type of like gas nade, essentially. Multiple different mosques on a very particular Muslim holiday. And as you would expect, Hamas retaliated, and then they were painted as the original instigators. So I wouldn't even be fucking surprised if this is the same thing happening again. They attack mosques on every Muslim holiday or Holy Week. Yeah, I mean, it's just... Let me see if I can find it. And let's see if we can find Oh, is this one? Is it the one? Yeah, these are both really good. One sec. Sure. Israel riot police. This is back in 2023, earlier this year. Israel riot police fire stun grenades and tear gas inside Al-Aqsa mosques in clash with Palestinian worshippers. Incident occurred on several hundred Palestinians remained in the mosque after Ramadan prayers on Tuesday night, with 12 Palestinians reportedly injured and dozens arrested. Clash, by the way. Yeah, chat, you guys are so smart. Clash with the Palestinian worshippers. If this was the other way around and this was a synagogue, specifically Israeli synagogue, and this was like Palestinians who were firing stun grenades and tear gas, it would be Hamas fires unbelievably unprecedented, insanely terrible action against Israeli civilians. It would be written so fucking differently. Like, come on, man. And this is like, I guess, the video of them fucking pulling up in this with the squad so that they can assault a bunch of people that are just trying to pray. Like, what is this? Police said that they used force to evacuate worshippers holed up in the mosque with fireworks, rocks, and sticks. Israeli riot police have fired stun grenades and tear gas inside Al-Aqsa mosques in clashes. 12 Palestinians were injured. Dozens were arrested. Incident occurred after several hundred Palestinians remained in the mosque after Ramadan prayers on Tuesday night. Israel police said that they tried to clear them peacefully, but a small group refused to leave. Police added that they moved in after several law-breaking youths and masked agitators brought fireworks, sticks, and stones and barricaded themselves into the mosque. And why again, just quick question, why again are we trying to kick them out of the mosque? One older man described the clashes as police terrorism. Barbaric police condemned for terrorism, but locals firmly blame, locals placed the blame firmly with Israeli authorities as they grappled with the violence. Freedom of religion must be the same for Muslims, and I think Israeli police broke all of the lines. People go to the mosque to pray, but this is Ramadan for all the Muslims of the world. What happened today is unimaginable. Jordan and Egypt, who have both been involved in peace talks to keep the calm during Ramadan, issued strong statements condemning the actions of Israeli police. Like, what is this? You know? Because that mosque is on a temple mount, so the IDF is more extreme about it than normal. Yeah, but at one, like, it's a piece of fucking land. In what universe is a piece of land or a building more valuable than lives? Like, I am very, very anti-iconoclasm, okay? This is my most problematic take, like, with the left. That I just don't think that we should ever be destroying, like, anything. Right? I don't think we should be destroying like paintings. I don't think we should be destroying buildings. I don't think we should destroy like sculptures. I don't think we should destroy anything. Even a lot of these the statues that were taken down, the statues of what's the term? slave owners in the US, most of those that were taken down, which was right for them to be taken down. I don't even want those to be destroyed. I just would rather them be sitting in like some government safe, right? They don't need to be paraded in a museum, but I don't want, like, it shouldn't be destroyed. You know, it's kind of like having photos of yourself. I don't know how many people here have, like, you take photos of yourself in high school and then you hate them so much you delete them. And then a decade later, you're like, man, I wish I had those photos. I just think that when it comes to any type of architecture or art, preservation is the most important. And you can keep it out of, like, the public sphere. Because I agree. I don't think we should have fucking slave owners, you know, just chilling in parks. That seems very, very fucked up, actually. But it doesn't mean that we have to necessarily destroy them, you know? And it's the same thing here. And also, I would immediately, if it meant that piece of architecture or art versus one human life, I would still pick the person. I would still pick yeah, as much as I want to preserve, as much as I am pro-preservation, some random piece of metal, some random piece of marble isn't worth any human life. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Put them in the British Museum? Oh my God. Yeah, well, they have a bunch of stolen shit anyways. Why not put someone that stole people, right? Sounds like a good idea. One of Israel's tactics is to subject imprisoned Palestinian children to the top of the hour ad break. Yeah, and it will be coming up in 15 minutes. Stop. Okay. I wanted to pull up this really quickly while I pull up some other news articles on this topic. Just want to pull up this live stream.
All right, let's take a look at how the last 12 hours have unfolded. Beginning at 3:30 GMT, Hamas started its military operation, firing thousands of rockets into Israel. An hour and a half later, fighters from Hamas's armed wing, the Qassam brigades, crossed into southern Israel by land and air. With the attack underway, Hamas announced the start of what it called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood.
Yeah, it's really sad, too, because the media is going to make it seem like this attack provoked increased violence as if they haven't been increasing violence for years. I mean, I would easily, and of course, like, these things are not now, like, these things are not synonymous. I'm just comparing the media, to be very clear. But it's very similar to, like, how Americans and how mainstream media in the U.S. treats Black Americans versus how they treat white Americans. Like, do I need to point at the sign, that one headline where it's like, was it Hurricane Katrina? I always forget which one it was. But there was a white family that went to the grocery store to get food and supplies, and they were described as being heroes, you know, scavengers, get food for their family. And the same exact thing, except the Americans were black in question. The Americans in question were black. And the headline was, looting is out of control. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on, man. Fucking come on. Or even with, like, the theft stuff, right? All of the stuff regarding, like, oh my God, we need to do something. Corporations are losing so much money to organize theft. You know, honestly, Black people need to stop stealing so much from all of these massive corporations because it's only going to make their lives worse in the long run. It's like, dude, you disenfranchise an entire group of people, redline the fuck out of their neighborhoods, gerrymander the fuck out of your state, reduced funding as much as you could, wage theft to the most extreme degree, and I am supposed to think that violence is justified because they stole something? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, fuck off, man. That's so bullshit. And that, except corporation got caught lying about the theft losses because they couldn't even legally lie to investors. I mean, Israel's been caught lying. They had, one of their synagogues was attacked and they had blamed it, I believe, on Egypt quite a while ago. And it was later revealed that there was no intelligence to suggest that that was an attack that was done externally and that that was actually an internal attack from Israel, by Israel, to Israel, and then they tried to frame it on a different country. Like, are you kidding me, man? Are you fucking kidding me?
In the hours since fighting began, videos started to emerge of Israeli soldiers being taken captive by Hamas fighters. And just after 6 GMT, footage showed fighting in and around the southern Israeli town of Sderot. One showed fighters taking over a police station. 4.5 hours after the first barrage of rocket fire from Gaza, Israel declared war, launching Operation Iron Swords in response. Well, Sami Al-Arian joins us now in our studio here in Doha. Thank you, sir, for being on set with us. A lot has gone on today, very fast-paced, and in a way that really moves the needle in the region. We've seen multiple wars between Gaza and Israel, and each time it seems like the result of it is a foregone conclusion. Israel will not only win overwhelmingly from a military standpoint, but will also be able to pretty much dictate the terms of the victory. How does today move the needle?
I think there is a huge difference this time around, and there will be huge geopolitical implications. First, if you look at what happened today, certainly Israel's nose has been bloodied in a way that hasn't been done before. And I think that deterrence that Israel thought it had no longer applies. The psychological impact, not only on a positive point from the Palestinian point of view, but also from how the Israelis are going to react to this. I think this government will not last very long, and I think there will be huge.
You think this will bring down the government?
I think it will.
Why?
After every major war that Israel had, the government falls within 6 months. You can see that in 73, in 82, in the successive wars that Israel conducted. Always there will be some kind of a backlash against the government, because Israel is not used to this kind of bloody war, where it not only loses settlers and soldiers, but also dozens have been taken captives, which means that there will have to be a huge price extracted from this, having almost thousands of Palestinians.
Did this guy say we lost settlers and soldiers? Am I supposed to care about those people? I'm sorry, what? Those are the two groups of people I don't give a fuck about. Because there are definitely people who are in Israel who have had generations of living in Israel. But if you're a fucking settler, are you kidding me? What?
Freed from the prison. But also there is another geopolitical implication, which is normalization. I think normalization with existing regimes, that train is set back, if not halted altogether. And I think the separation atmosphere that was taking place in Western capitals, in Israel, some Arab countries, that I think is also becoming gloomy. Third,
well, just to stop you right there, how do you think Riyadh is looking at this, very briefly?
I think Riyadh right now is very worried that it has become part of a normalization process where the overwhelming feeling in the region is against it totally, and now they have been exposed. But I want to say one thing, if I may, about Western governments, because they act like this has only been 12-hour struggle while it's been 12 decades. I mean, talking about Israel's right to defend itself without looking at how the Palestinians have been at the end of Israel brutality, Israel trying to dictate all the terms, you know, incursion on cities.
I thought he was going to go in one direction, but he went in a different direction.
Towns, Al-Aqsa, Gaza siege, and all that. That's as if that hasn't been taking place for decades.
Sami Al-Arian, I have to jump in because we're going to take a very short break before we bring all of our news back at the top of the hour with our correspondents for continuing coverage of this war. Thank you very much.
Like, I'm going to pull up the video for people who haven't seen it. I guess, like, one's in chat if you've seen this specific video, two's if you haven't. Because I know that for some people, maybe people who don't know a lot about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, maybe you guys haven't seen stuff like this. This video is sickening. Yeah, this video is sickening. This is why I have no sympathy for settlers. This is why I have zero sympathy for settlers.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one allowed to steal it, يا عمي. Jacob, you know this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
But
it's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
You are stealing my house.
It's just like literally some random guy from fucking Brooklyn who has the money to relocate his whole life is going to settle in Israel by taking someone else's fucking house. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? BlackRock in human form? Yeah, so no, I don't have a lot of sympathy for settlers. If you are participating in like the destruction of an area, it's similar-ish, not on the same level, but I would compare it to natives in Hawaii who say, you know, please do not come to Hawaii because you are funding the massive hotels and the massive tourism attractions that are ruining our state, that are ruining our land. You know, everything is, all of our values being extracted and we aren't seeing any of it come back to us. If you want to go to Hawaii and you want to come to Hawaii and you want to experience it, you should be supporting the local economy. You should be supporting like the indigenous people who live here, you know? You shouldn't be spending it at a fucking resort. You are part of the problem. You are engaging as you are engaging in the system that is part of the problem. Does that mean we're all settlers in the United States? Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. And the fact that the United States just gave indigenous people a tiny bit of reservation land and a couple casinos, and we're like, we can call it even here, right? This is fine. We're good here. We're good here. Oh, hi, Ash. We're good. We're good. We're Krispy Kreme. Also, I know we said that these are your reservations, but actually we really want to build an oil pipeline here. So we're just going to take back a little bit of this. Okay? Just a little bit. Just a little of this. Okay? Just a little. Please don't get upset. Don't get mad, guys. I know we made a treaty with you guys. Now we're breaking it, but like, come on. Oh yeah, and that's not even talking about like North America, specifically Canada, the way that we treated indigenous children and essentially put them in re-education camps, stole them from their families and tried to indoctrinate them with Christianity. No words for that level of like aware. Catherine Queen, thank you for the 18 months. Thank you. Like literally stripping kids away from their parents, refusing to allow them to learn about their culture, cutting their hair, which is a very important thing with the indigenous people, a lot of different indigenous cultures here in North America. So huge fuck up. And then we're going to pretend like it was fine. It was all good. It was all Krispy Kreme. Like, come on, man. Come on. Evil. That was the word I was looking for. Yep. Yeah, I'm Canadian with a partner who's Indigenous, and my goodness, I thought I knew all the atrocity. It never ends with the horrible things we've done with Indigenous people here. And this is why whenever people are like, we need to peacefully protest, guys, I would be in support of Palestine if they were more peaceful, but they're not peaceful, so I can't be in support of them. First of all, they tried that. Second of all, look at how it's worked out for the Indigenous people in North America. The indigenous people in North America were the epitome of nonviolent, and all we did was murder them, take their land, take their kids, take every strategy that they had, learn everything from them, and then we killed the ones that we didn't like. You know? So this whole like, we have to be nonviolent. Fuck off, man. Come on. Are you kidding me? Their children went peacefully to the mass graves behind those Catholic churches. You know? Right, is the language of the unheard. And also, it's unbelievably disrespectful, just on principle. It's unbelievably disrespectful to tell a group of people that has been oppressed for for decades, if not centuries, how they should react. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be the person, you know, I'm not going to be the person that's telling indigenous people, you guys have to be more peaceful. I'm not going to be the person to tell Black Americans, you guys need to be more peaceful. Fucking, someone else can die on that hill. I'm not dying on that fucking hill. No. One second before we get into this. This is a very good reminder and a very, very good indicator of why I feel so passionately about the nonviolent stuff. Just a reminder that in 2018, Palestinians in Gaza mounted the Great March of Return to show the world their plight. Day after day, they walked unarmed to show Israel's military fences around Gaza. Israel shot 8,000 with live ammunition, killed 220 Palestinians, 36,000 were injured. Yep. And mind you, they were also using weapons that are against the Geneva Convention. I forget what the name of it is. It's like an acid or like a powder that burns. I just don't remember the exact name of the... Someone in here knows. White phosphorus. Thank you. Yes. And here, we can all look into it right now. White phosphorus munitions are weapons that use one of the common allotropes of the chemical element phosphorus. White phosphorus is used in smoke, illumination, incendiary munitions, and is commonly in the burning element of tracer ammunitions. Other common names for white phosphorus include WP. Okay. In addition to its offensive capabilities, white phosphorus is a highly efficient smoke-producing agent, reacting with the air to produce an immediate blanket of phosphorus pentoxide vapor. Smoke-producing white phosphorus munitions are very common, particularly smoke grenades for infantry loaded in defense grenade launchers on tanks. Okay. I'm trying to see. Yeah, here. Used by Israeli forces in Gaza. In its early statements regarding the Gaza war 2008 to 2009, Israeli military denied using WP entirely, saying the IDF only acts in accordance with what is permitted by international law, and it does not use white phosphorus. However, numerous reports from human rights groups during the war indicated that WP shells were being used by Israeli forces in populated areas. On January 2009, the Times of London reported that the telltale smoke associated with white phosphorus had been seen in the vicinity of Israeli shelling. It was reported that more than 50 patients in Nasser Hospital were being treated for phosphorus burns. And let me see if I can find like a good resource on white phosphorus burns, because they are not like a joke. They're not. Let's see. But I don't want to put images on because Twitch might get upset. Where is it? This isn't really like, wait one second. Okay, I'm struggling to find it. But essentially the reason why white phosphorus is so bad is because the smoke, which is guaranteed to be produced when you're using the rounds, will cause burning when you are breathing it in. Like, it will literally burn you from the inside out. It's not like, it's the same reason why, like, hollow rounds or hollow points aren't used in war. And it's because removing one bullet, you can do that. Removing a bunch of different shrapnels, that's almost impossible to do. And it's the same thing here. I'm scarred by images of W.P. Burns on victims in Vietnam. It's burned in my brain. Yeah. And they also use cluster bombs. So when the white phosphorus makes contact with your skin, when you breathe it in, or when it's like, you know, making contact with your eyes, you will experience like unironic 3rd-degree burns all over yourself. That's why it's not used. And the most fucked thing, the U.S. used it in Iraq, by the way. Of course the U.S. used it in Iraq. The U.S. doesn't care about a single treaty, okay? It doesn't care about anything. The U.S. does whatever the fuck the U.S. wants. If you breathe it in, there's no way to put that fire out. Yeah. And Korea? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Afghanistan? Oh, yeah. To think that the U.S. cares about civilians is a joke. That's unbelievable. No. Okay. Oh, and then the worst part of this, I remember when we were covering it in the last instance where Israel was really in the news. They weren't just, by the way, shooting unarmed protesters. They were also shooting medical staff, which is very illegal. And they were also shooting journalists, which is also very illegal. In any times of war, you are not allowed at all to hurt medical staff, and you are not allowed to hurt journalists because they are there specifically, exclusively, just to help. And it is not fair or reasonable or justified to kill people who are not even participating. Geneva Convention, more like Geneva Suggestion. Yep. And then they'll be like, well, the journalists were spies. The medical staff, they were spies. They also claim that like the medics were like human shields. Yep. They killed like a nurse, sniper, straight to the chest. They had a medical badge. They knew what they were doing. Yeah. No, they knew. So we can watch this, I guess.
All right. Israel's Air Force pounds Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tells his country they're at war. Now, it's been a day of violence after Hamas launched a large military operation across the border into Israel. Israel's army says the Qassam brigades have taken many Israeli soldiers and civilians captive. Meanwhile, Palestinians seize Israeli army equipment, celebrating Hamas's surprise assault across the border. Israel has launched multiple airstrikes on the Gaza Strip in the last hour or so. It says it was targeting what it says were Hamas-affiliated targets. The strikes come shortly after the armed group Hamas launched an unprecedented land and air military operation against Israel. Fighters breached the Gaza barrier, entered 3 Israeli cities and towns near the border. At least 100 Israelis are reported as being killed. More than 700 have been injured. Now, Israel has issued a 48-hour civil emergency order that applies throughout the country and is now bombarding Gaza. 198 Palestinians have reportedly been killed in and around Gaza. Mohammed Val begins our coverage.
An unprecedented Palestinian attack on Israel. Qassam brigades, the movement's military wing in Gaza, launching a ground assault with fighters breaching the border fence into Israel. Some using paragliders. Hamas says the offensive is in response to the desecration of Al-Aqsa Mosque and the crimes of the Israeli occupation.
The time has come to draw the line for the enemy to understand their time is up and they can't keep going without consequences. We are announcing an operation called Al-Aqsa Floods.
Yeah, I love how the the terrorist fighters are like 12 dudes in t-shirts. My favorite part of like, so my favorite part of media coverage is just how fucking bullshit it all is. How absolutely bullshit it all is. Al Jazeera News is one of the few news organizations that actually covers it close to fairly, where they actually allow the opposition, aka Palestinians, to talk about why they're invading. And the invasion is people escaping their fucking open air prison. That's what the invasion is. The invasion on Israel is people leaving the open air prison that is Gaza.
First part of it, 5,000 rockets have been fired. It is the time to unite, all the Arab and Islamic powers, to overthrow the Israeli occupation.
Members of the Islamic Jihad armed group.
Also, do you notice what the language that's being used is?
Occupation.
Sorry, 1 second.
In the first part of it, 5,000 rockets have been fired. It is the time to unite, all the Arab and Islamic powers, to overthrow the Israeli occupation.
They don't say to overthrow Israelis. They don't say so that we can kill a bunch of Israelis. They say so we can finally overthrow this Israeli occupation. Their demands are stop occupying our land, stop controlling where we can go, where we can't go, how much resources we can have. Like, that's the key word there. Occupation.
Members of the Islamic Jihad armed group in Gaza answered the call to arms. Scenes emerged of Palestinian fighters attacking Israeli military checkpoints, looting, seizing and burning vehicles, and taking Israeli soldiers and civilians prisoner.
They are prisoners of war. They are soldiers.
The area's border crossing between Gaza and Israel has also been breached, and members of the Qassam brigades fought with Israeli forces at a police station in the city of Sderot. Medical sources say hundreds of people have been injured and taken to hospital. The attack began at dawn when Hamas says it fired as many as 5,000 short and long-range rockets from Gaza into Israeli territory. The Israeli government was quick to respond, declaring a state of war alert and warning Hamas that it had made a grave mistake. It hammered targets in Gaza and approved the call-up of military reservists.
We are at war, not an operation. Hamas has launched a murderous surprise attack against the state of Israel and its citizens. I ordered, first of all, to cleanse the settlements from the terrorists who had infiltrated.
This guy's a fucking
and
piece
ordered
of shit.
a large-scale mobilization of reserves. The enemy will pay a price he has never known.
But for now, there are scenes of joy and celebration in some occupied territories. Palestinians in Ramallah and Hebron in the occupied West Bank out on the streets in support of the fighters. Gaza has witnessed many violent confrontations with Israel, but all signs indicate this one might be the worst yet. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera.
A short time ago, an Israeli airstrike hit the position right behind our reporter, Yumna Sayed in Gaza.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are missing the point. Killing is always wrong, but the context is important to understand why this is happening. Exactly. And for the people, because I understand it's Americans especially, they love to cling to like centrism. It's like the American staple. But the important question to ask yourself is, what are the Palestinians supposed to do? What else are the Palestinians supposed to do? You know, it's not even like they're even allowed to go back to their daily lives without harassment, humiliation, and violence. They're constantly oppressed every single day. Yeah. They've been living like this for decades. Like, what do people expect? What would you do if the cops closed off your street and said you can't leave indefinitely?
She was on air. Here's that moment.
Here's a short clip on how Gaza is an open-air prison. Let's see.
5 miles long and about 5 miles wide. 2 million Palestinians live packed into this tiny space, one of the most densely populated places in the world. Half are children. Many live in refugee camps speckled throughout the besieged territory. A stunning 80% of the population relies on foreign aid. Aptly called an open-air prison, there are only 2 ways to leave the enclosed area: the Erez crossing into Israeli territory, and the Rafah crossing, which goes to Egypt. Both are completely controlled by hostile militaries. What Israel calls a border is actually a heavily militarized perimeter fence comprised of barbed wire, surveillance networks, and lethal no-go zones. If you roam too close to the so-called no-go zone, which extends 300 meters out from the fence, Israeli forces have authorized themselves to shoot to kill. Thousands of unarmed Palestinians have been shot for violating this rule in 2018 alone.
Yeah, you know, totally normal border. It's just a border. I don't understand why they can't stay on their side of the border, you know? As if it isn't a fucking prison.
The same goes for Gaza's coastline. It is the only place in the world where you can't even flee by boat, as refugees elsewhere often do. Fishermen are restricted to only a few nautical miles from their shore. Straying past that, even by accident, you can be blown out of the water by Israeli warships. A massive seawall in the north and south, currently being extended, boxes them into their small sliver of sea. This violence is compounded by an economic blockade that imposes a chokehold of poverty on Gaza, resulting in one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, according to the World Bank. 70% of the youth are unemployed, with 52% for the general population.
Nice, cool. But can't they just peacefully protest? Violence is unacceptable behavior. And honestly, I cannot believe the Palestinians would do this. I can't believe the Palestinians would want to have better conditions. Why can't they just be happy like this? Violence is never the answer. I'm a good person. Fuck off. Oh, fuck off. If you lived in an open air prison, because this video doesn't even cover it, or like this section of the video didn't cover it. I think this is from a documentary we had watched earlier. They don't have access to clean water and food. Because it is all determined by the state of Israel. Israel decides how much food and water that they are allowed to have. And they give them just enough. The bare minimum. Yeah, this video, I remember this as well.
I'm always sick. I'm always, I don't know. I can't do anything. You see all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything in this world. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? We're just kids. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair. It's not fair.
The people in Israel, they can leave. The people who live in Israel, if they feel that it is too dangerous to live in Israel, they can leave anytime they want. The people in Palestine, they can't leave. I'm going to have sympathy for the people who are literally trapped. And if they try and leave, they get murdered. So for anyone who doesn't know, there's Palestine is comprised of like the Gaza Strip, and then there's the rest of Palestine. The Gaza Strip is it's an open air prison, and those people can't leave. The rest of Palestine, you are in some instances on some roads allowed to leave, but they will not allow you to re-enter your country. West Bank, you're not allowed to re-enter the country. But if you're an Israeli citizen, you can leave and come back whenever you want. Oh, this piece is really good. This piece is really good. I just want everyone to have context, especially people who don't know a lot about the situation, because I feel strongly about it because I've researched it and I recognize that this is not like, oh, both sides, both sides. This is there's an occupation. There's one group of people that is powerless to do anything. And there's another group of people that is oppressing these people. Oh, wait, before we watch this video. Here they are leaving. Press coverage, sirens are now sounding at Laden Ben Gurion Airport. Back to Europe you go.
Come.
Oh, I'm sorry. The video isn't working. I'm sorry. I paged full blown. I'm sick. Okay, give me a break. It's very important to understand. Only Israelis are allowed to do this. Oh, there's an active war zone going on. There's active threats going on. Active missiles going off. Okay, well, I'm getting the fuck out of this country. Maybe when it like settles down a little, I'll come back. I'm going to go to literally anywhere else. Palestinians, they don't have that. They don't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury. They just, okay, well, where I live is now being hit by missiles and rockets. Okay, guess I'll die because I can't do anything else.